Oh, but the camera's off. That's okay. I just want to get some audio here anyways. My phone.
Your phone.
No. I love your singing. Little stinker. How do I get the live stream? Oh, share.
Hey, you want some catnip in that one? Yeah, I'm gonna fill it up for you. Yeah, I'm gonna fill it up for you.
Little buddy. Hey. Yeah. He loves you.
You smell this? That sounds very mechanical. That sounds very mechanical.
Okay, let's see if this sounds even good. Okay, let's see if this sounds even good. Okay, let's see if this sounds even good. That's actually not bad. Okay, let's see if this sounds even good. That's actually not bad. It's a feedback loop happening is what's happening there. So let me just stop that, plug this in, and listen to what's going on here. Okay, so okay, check. Okay, check. Okay, check. Okay, check. Okay, check. Okay, check. Why would that build like that?
Because you were listening back to it on the screen, probably.
It's not playing here. No, because even here now, when I press play, it's insane. It's insane. But it sounds good.
That sounded terrible.
There's feedback going though. I don't know what that feedback is. What is that? If I listen, like, why is that happening? Why is there a feedback loop happening? Can you tell why there's a feedback loop happening? Because this sounds nice. And it's out of shot and it's really rich. It's like, why would there be a So let me turn play on this then. Or this is fine. But it sounds. Okay.
So how does it sound?
It's ramping
So
up.
how does
It's
it sound?
ramping up again. It's ramping
So
up.
how does
It's
it sound?
ramping up again. It's ramping up. It's ramping up again. There's some kind of feedback loop happening. I don't understand, but maybe let me try. Let me try from here again. Okay, this actually seems like it sounds pretty good. Check, 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 check. Yeah, if you sit right here and you're just going back and forth, or it's actually quite nice. Come check it out. Sit here. I don't know how to control the volume or anything, but
I don't hear anything. Huh. It's quite low, isn't it? Is that as far as it goes?
well, let's look in here and see if. Oh yeah, see how low that is? Now turn that up. No, 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 not too much. You want them to be even? Good. Alright, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Check.
Still quite quiet
Check.
though.
Check. Still quiet. Check, 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 check.
Yeah. Maybe if I pull this closer. I can't reach all that way. Still kind of quiet. What the fuck?
Check OBS settings.
No.
No, we're redlining in OBS. We're redlining. Redline, red. Yeah, no,
So
that's
what's
just.
going on then? It says, why can't it turn up?
Check, 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 check. There we go. Yeah, I don't
On
know.
here. Like, why is it saying zero?
That's what I don't know. I don't understand that part of it. I'm not quite entirely sure why it's doing that. I've never had it tell me that I can't control the volume before. It's very strange. Oh yeah, see, look.
Ah.
It was way down. Whatever's going on is something's overriding my sound. I just have to reboot my computer, but it sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Use your voice. And let's see what the camera says too, because let's test it with the camera. Beam boo deem.
Maybe I should be listening to my voice in there, because then I can like monitor
This
the
is probably going
sound.
to feedback loop it.
Maybe I should be listening to.
Oh, that'll trip you out. Hearing you on loop to yourself, it's like
Why will it
really
do
hard to
that?
concentrate.
No, if I not on loop, but like through the system.
View.
Can I hear the microphones through the system?
Yeah. Oh, why? Oh. The whole thing turns off when I do that. Okay, so desktop again. Where's that at, please? Thank it's not.
Wait, it was on there
Yeah.
then. That one.
But that's the other thing. What's going on there? Oh. Well, there we are. See, like that.
I'm curious if I can hear, if there's a way for me to hear what I'm speaking about through here. Like, you know how when you're...
You know, a live monitor,
I wonder if
a live out would be somewhere on this thing. Yeah.
line out or...
Probably try that. See if that is. Are you hearing anything?
Well, let me get a minute first.
Oh. Can you hear anything? Like you should be able to hear live right now.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Hello.
Well, that's max volume.
Yeah, that's... I can hear myself.
Well?
Yeah.
Directly?
Yep.
Cool.
Have to wear these stupid things.
Well, yeah, see, you don't have to, but you can. What else do we need? So are we? We're testing. We're live right now, right? Or are we live? Yeah.
Yeah.
Reset that.
What?
Just go back to that. Reset that. Just let me just. Epic. Epic. Cool. All right. Rock on.
Yeah, I was about to do a feedback loop.
Yeah, you heard that. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, let me get out of here. Get my computer out of here. And see you on chats. Hey, British. If you want, or I can see you on the sits. It's up to you.
I don't know what to stream about. I guess someone asked a question.
Already on stream?
Hmm?
Already on stream? Someone asked a question?
One thing.
Kitty and the cat nippers. Love them.
Didn't even want any. I heard that wrong. What?
Nibs and scritches.
The fuck is that? This fucking wacky things going on. Is this like waxy or something? You know what it is? It's my hair. It gets stuck in there. Because it's like the thing like takes it and fucking...
Oh, that's what I was looking for.
Hey? Yeah, I'm just gonna get up the question. Does that play through the... Can you hear that through?
Probably. If I can hear it here, I probably can hear it here.
So why is it coming through there?
Because you don't have the speakers set necessarily, right? Oh, it's not coming through those?
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
I can hear the fan. How to maintain personal boundaries with family members. Let me know. I think I'm live. Let me know. Huh?
Make sure you auto-mod some people if you're feeling into it.
Why do you say that? So,
Experiencing technical difficulties.
let me know if you can hear and see me. Technical difficulties? What, like? Yeah, maybe it's not that. Okay. I'll go back. Skin and content. There we go. I'm going to call it Intuitive Tuesdays. But I do want to address a question first, then get into hopefully some tips, some readings. Yeah, I don't know what tech is doing with me right now, but it's kind of weird. It's a beautiful setup though, so this should work. Hello everybody, if you can hear and see me, let me know. Yeah, someone asked a question about, I said I was going to stream about self-care today, and honestly when I wrote it in my community tab yesterday, and I was going to ask you guys what you wanted me to stream about, but then I decided I was going to stream about self-care. And then someone asked a question, James, hey, do you want to talk about how to maintain personal boundaries with family members? So I think maybe we'll touch on that first. But first, I want to know that y'all are here. You can see me. Hello, Symbio. And that it's all good. It's all okay. It's all fine with you. On your end, technologically, and also let us know how you're doing. We're here for you. While I wait, I'm just gonna actually look up something. I'm reading a rune book. It's called Wild Soul Runes, because I want to learn a little bit more about runes, and it's talking about the Web of Word, which I find really cool. I was inspired by the Web of Word when I first found an article about it on Sacred Scribes, I believe it was. Hi Birdie, I can hear you. So yeah. So if anyone wants a rune reading, we'll probably read some of that today, but I also have my cards as well. But I wanted to get on here and just discuss a little bit about self-care and answer this question. So how to maintain personal boundaries with family members. I think this is a big one. Because I mentioned it in the last stream. Pretty sure I did, unless I dreamt it, but I mentioned how it's a lot of energy that comes through your family. Actually, no, more to the point, I think I mentioned that you can be affected by people energetically that aren't necessarily in your vicinity. And that's a huge thing to get. Like, even that in itself is major, because it kind of goes against what we know about the laws of physics, I want to say. Although I'm pretty sure the real laws of physics know about that. But it's like an energetic current you can receive from the people you love. So we're answering the question, how to maintain personal boundaries with family members. And I don't know if it's like you have to maintain a boundary other than, say, a personal boundary, like what it is that you need, what it is that you are willing to accept through your energy, and what you're not willing to accept. This is huge, because it comes through our dreams, what we feel from our family members and from our friends, because technically they're like a second family, right? But honing in just on that first circle, that first family circle, because whether you're in touch with them or not, if you've spent a lot of time, like most of your life with them, there's things that influence you from afar, good and bad. It's like an energetic current, an invisible cord between you and them. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more today, because I think it may help to discuss these kinds of things openly, and have a space to do that, really, because I think I've been learning more about boundaries recently, personal boundaries, and it's like getting to know myself and what I need, and then at the same time what other people want and what other people need in their personal bubble, in their personal space. So I also might bring through some light language. I had a lot of ideas for today's stream that were coming through for me yesterday, and for whatever reason it kind of overloads me a little bit, makes me kind of have too many thoughts in order to get on here. So that could have been why we had technical, I don't know. I'm not going to stretch. Don't need to. But yeah, could be. Hello, Amber Lee. Nice name. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Elizabeth. Thank you. Hello, Amber Cat. How are you doing? Yeah, light language comes in many forms, and that's actually something that for me has been tricky to navigate, those kinds of boundaries for things that for me help with my self-development, help with my self-care, but I also care about what other people think about my boundary, you know? So today I'm just gonna, we're talking about boundaries, all right? And how when we build them, it's good to recognize what's in them and what's beyond them. Because we're always gonna not really have a boundary in as far as what I think word is powerful though. Like if you suggest to yourself, like, you're not necessarily going to take in all of the energy surrounding a specific thing, it works. You can actually say that it works. So yeah, but what doesn't work is maybe where we have a familiar pattern, a familiar way of doing something, and we fall into that same trap of doing that same thing over and over again. So for example, if it's a lack of boundaries with or maybe a lack of morals, or maybe a lack of, because we're not just talking about boundaries in as far as keeping people out or necessarily that kind of thing, because as I was saying in the beginning, it's almost like there's an energetic cord between all of us, but some of us more strongly, like between you and your family, your first circle, for example, there's a strong cord there. Not just energetically, but physically. You have your actual genetics that are linked to them. So being able to have clear communication there in terms of what you will accept on this side of the boundary and what you will understand on that side of the boundary. I hope this is making sense, because I think there's a lot more to it, but I'd love to hear from you all, kind of, if there's anything specific you're working on. James asked this question, so if you're here, let me know, but I don't think you are. But someone else, Ram, also asked about this, and it's just interesting because you asked about it around a time that, now that I think about it, although there's a million one thoughts that go through my head every single day, it's actually been a big area where I've been wanting to build up on. Foundations is another word for boundaries, actually. Having like a body light suit of armor is another word for boundaries. That's kind of one of those imaginary ones, but yeah, this is a real thing, and I don't know too much about that side of it. It came up in a book me and Symbio was reading recently. What was it called? Archangel something. And it's talking about your light bodysuit of armor. I'm not joking. I put down the book right on that, in that moment when I was reading that. I was like, okay, it's time for bed. But then I thought to myself the next day, no, but I want to read a different book. I want to read this rune book that I have with me here that I was going to read to you, but decided not to. And now that I think about it, I was kind of going back and forth with this idea of whether boundaries should be a thing or not. Like, wearing a light suit of armor, why should I need to do that? Like, who actually needs to do that? But I think that in itself is like the cusp of, say, a deeper understanding about yourself and how powerful your energy actually is. So, it's a huge topic. So I think it does probably require its, own talk show. What are boundaries? Good question. What I learned recently about boundaries is, am I respecting my own? Breathing a sigh of relief. Because I think in asking that question, you become more aware of whether you are or not, but you're not fully there yet. It's like the first step, right? And then beyond that, it's like really questioning, really digging, really deepening that understanding of whether you are. And whether it's actually expansive or... Because there's a way to have boundaries that's expansive. There's a way to have boundaries that's collapsive, I want to say. And, there's so much in this one topic that knowing where to begin, the way others can respect mine, does that make any sense? The way others can respect yours. Yeah, it's like the resources that... I say resources because I think that's kind of what... Like, if you have boundaries, then you know what resources you can open up with, and you know what resources maybe you won't open up with in that moment in time, because everything is linked back to that moment in time, that now moment, So, yeah. Hello, Pegasus. Hello, Nikki. Hello, everybody. I'm glad we got this to work today. We're just speaking about boundaries, how we can look at it as something that is expansive for us and not necessarily retractive. I'm pulling up some of these words that aren't necessarily in the dictionary, but hopefully you get my gist. Yeah, I think pressure is another word, or suffering is another word, that we might go through when we're learning boundaries. One of the biggest things for me is recognizing that it's taken me years and years to understand what boundaries are. And even now, I couldn't answer that question 100%. What are boundaries? It's kind of like... It's not kind of like anything. It is a thing. It's one of those things where you just... you have a yes and you have a no. And sometimes we get caught up in our no's about life, like our deepest no's, like the kind, but sometimes we treat it as entertainment. What I mean is sometimes we enter the cave of pleasure because of one reason or another, and that is not really kind of for our benefit. And sometimes we need to talk about those things in order to raise awareness, for example, but usually it's about knowing yourself and being yourself. It's not necessarily about like having to tell everyone, oh, I got these boundaries, but it's maybe a little bit to do with communicating what you will be able to do right now in comfort, and maybe something that might take you a little bit longer to do, but you're going to try. You know, there's different kinds of boundaries. There's different kinds of ways to think about it. For sure. I think whatever keeps you living life, as like simple and baseline as I can say that, whatever keeps you living life and not doing something else, because there's plenty of ways to not necessarily live life, but I can't really name them to you. You kind of just know when you're living life and when you're not. It's kind of like a feeling of like being stuck, like hesitation or not knowing what to do next kind of feeling, so you just kind of stay in limbo. And that's actually one of the runes, is being, a couple of them actually are talking about being in limbo. Not quite that word, but being frozen in time, being stuck. So it's part of the process as well. It's no judgment about that. It's just getting clear on our boundaries. So I might write some of this down, because I'm going to talk about self-care. I'd say that is, you know, another way you could look at it is how many boundaries do you have in your even own mind in terms of what you will and won't tolerate from your own self. So that kind of ties back in with these family boundaries, how to have personal boundaries with family members. Like, are you listening to your own voice, the one that's trying to get you to the next place, or are you listening to some other voice that's kind of just bringing your energy to like a damp place? And sometimes that can sound like our family, because we've listened to them so much in our life, and we've listened to the TV so much in our life, but usually not one station. Usually our family represents a one station that we've listened to for a long period of our life. And so the good and the bad stations of the family member live in us, right? And so when we hear a thought, it takes self-care in order to say to yourself, okay, is this a thought that I want to continue with, because how does it make me feel? It's more complex than that, though, because for some people it's more complex than that, but we're going to go there for today. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple. I'm going to pull a card, though, because this is also another way of... for me, it's like a type of self-care. It's like conversing with the universe. Pulling a card is like conversing with the universe. So I'm going to start with Sacred. This is the Sacred Geometrical Activations deck. If anyone would like this reading to be for them specifically, obviously it's still for the collective. So you'll be buying basically a card for the collective. It'll be your gift to them. I'm going to do it anyways, so I'm just saying, though, if there's anyone in the chat who wants this to be specifically for them but also for the group, let me know before I start. Otherwise I'm going to just go ahead and shuffle. Hello Isla, hello Tiger Guy, welcome in. That's okay. Yeah, of course, Peggy. Peggy? Pegasus. Peggy's a nice name. I like it. Yeah, you get your beauty sleep there, and thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. I'm pulling up on solar plexus chakra. It's maybe where a lot of us are at in this chat right now. It's kind of like the level we're at, or could represent the level we're we're going toward, or we are seeing as the issue when maybe it's not. Many different ways to read these cards. So I'm going to set I'm going to write something. That was what I was going to do. I was going to find a pen. Hey, Hunsies? Do you have a pen there, by any chance? Because I want to have something coherent here. Perception is on the bottom here. How do we perceive things? It's very much from our own bubble. But our bubbles interlink. They come together, you know. Been told you need to set more boundaries for yourself by spirit. Perfect, then we chose the right topic. That's good to know. How about we... Thank you, darling. Appreciate that. So let's talk about boundaries overall. And that in itself is a big topic, but I do want to maybe do a reading here. Get some more information. It's kind of like, what is the situation right now? What is the situation pertaining to boundaries? For all of us here, specifically, or one or two people. Good night. Sleep tight. Challenging months. So, this will be a collective reading, but I do personal readings for members, and members also get access to exclusive videos, and it really helps me out. So, otherwise, sit back and relax. I'm going to do a reading anyways for the collective, or just for whatever energies, yeah, for the collective. What is the sitch? What is the situation pertaining to boundaries? All right. What is... If we know the situation we're dealing with, say that it is perception. So our perception towards boundaries is what could be causing a lack of boundaries. Is that true? A lack of boundaries? Yeah, maybe. Because we don't fully understand what the boundaries themselves, what they are, how they need to be understood. So we'll get a bit more information. So here I'll just write more info. More information surrounding perception. Our perception, the world's perception of what true healthy boundaries look like. And I'm already seeing so many things, I'm already hearing so many things, but I'm gonna try and channel it through the cards and try and keep it like funneled so that it's actually cohesive and not so abstract. Although I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm an abstract person, so if it comes through as abstract, then that's the code, right? That's the way it comes through. But I'm going to try my best to be coherent with this, and get some goods going with this conversation, because it could be a nice little container for that. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate that. yeah, I just it's nice to have a video log, but like of stuff of videos I created before, but it also, these earphones are like constantly coming out. Needs change. Might use my other ones. Yeah, I'm gonna use my other ones. See if I can find my other ones. You see my other ones? I'm looking for my headphones. Yeah, the older headphones. You put them in there?
No, I just saw them today.
I put them in there?
I saw them today.
Okay. Don't remember putting them in there. But that's good. We found it. We found it. Oh, you mean the white ones? No, I mean the black ones. My other ones. Yeah. But there you go. The other ones are kind of, they're good quality, but they're also kind of flaking on me. That's weird.
Are they beside your table anywhere?
Beside my table. This one.
On the other side, they fall down.
Headphones. Where are you headphones now? Okay. The disappearance of the headphones.
You want my AKG
That's
ones?
the next story. What?
You want my mixing headphones?
Oh my god, no. Don't like those bloody things. Seriously, where did I... Oh, found him. Don't mind the loud sounds. It was just... nothing broke. We're gonna roll with these. Gonna roll. Let me see if I can get these out. Oh, that's really loud. Oh my goodness. Sorry if I've been like shouting. Gotta learn how to not do that. Alright, that's so much clearer. I think your headphones are dud. Alright, they're not dud, but they're not not as loud as that. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to be careful now, because it sounds like there could be some interference with the headphones and the microphones. Just what we wasn't expecting, that's fine. Hopefully I didn't hurt your ears or anything. Hi, what are we doing today? Good question. We are talking about boundaries. We are doing readings, collective readings, personal readings around boundaries. And when we talk about boundaries, we're also talking what's beyond the boundary. For context, wow, those cars are really loud through this. Man. Okay, it's good, we're good. I'm going to focus on those things, I'm going to focus on the good. So what I was saying was, we're going to do, so we already did a bit of a reading. What is the situation pertaining to boundaries? Perception. How do we perceive good boundaries for ourselves? How do we know personal boundaries for ourselves? How do we understand what boundaries really are? Specifically pertaining to a question somebody asked James. Was asking about boundaries with family, which is a huge thing in itself. I mean, technically, technically we're all family, but we do have circles of influence that come first. Your biological family is one of those. They're your first circle, even if you don't necessarily talk to them, or whatever. There's another boundary I want to talk about. Maybe I'm going to let the cards talk about it. More info surrounding perception. That's what we're going to ask the cards. Can we please have more information surrounding the perception of boundaries? More information surrounding the perception of boundaries. More information. I saw the card remembering as well. I'm going to put remembering down. So the reason we'd want to have boundaries, for example, is for a plethora of reasons. One being that if we don't have some kind of boundary, maybe we'll never, maybe that's not the one. I think the other one might be more important. If we don't have some kind of boundary in terms of what we will and won't allow into our mind, even that, is that true? I'm just questioning myself. Is that right? I don't know. You know what? Yeah, it was a nice lunch. Thank you, guys. We had, what did we have? Broccoli and pasta. Consciousness, allowance, perception. Alright, so I want to pull up on the allowance card then. More info surrounding the perception of boundaries. Here's where I'm having struggles. It's like I know my boundaries in my head, I know what they pertain to, but talking about them out loud, you have to also talk about the fact that what's beyond the boundary also needs to be allowed for in order for life experiences to come to you and to allow them to fully take their course. If we try and prolong joy all the time and always seek happiness, always seek peace, I mean, it's a good thing to do, but if you don't allow for the other things necessarily to come through that you may perceive them as bad, but actually what they are is something that expands consciousness. Alright, I think we got something a bit more cohesive there. I think so. So I'm gonna say we have perception. Perception of what? Our own boundaries. Of our own boundaries. Perception of our own boundaries is all that maybe is needed when it comes to having boundaries. You don't need to go telling everyone what your boundaries are. You just communicate with them when something doesn't feel good and maybe it could feel better, I guess. The other person may or may not take that piece of advice on, so that's where the allowance comes in. You gotta allow for the fact that some boundaries will always be crossed. Even if you have, say, put up your best intentions, your best will to... How do I explain that? You just allow. You have to allow some of the time, but I have to say that you also... I feel like there's got to be a duality there, but there's not. There's just consciousness after that. I'm going to delve into this a little bit deeper because I'm not 100% sure about that. It's like you have a perception of your boundaries pertaining to relationships, pertaining to institutions, pertaining to what you will and won't allow into your mind. Right? What you will and won't allow into your body. What you will and won't allow into your emotions. You set that boundary, you set that thing of You can't always know, though. You can't always know what's going to happen. And that's where the allowance comes in. Alright, there we go. Allowance. You can't always know why. You can't always know why something happens. You can't always know what's going to happen. Consciousness. Either way, consciousness is learning. Are we saying that? Is that what we're finishing with? The frequency of consciousness supports our ability to focus our attention on all the multidimensional aspects that show up so that we can include them in our reality. Yeah, I think that makes sense. The multidimensional side of our consciousness is set into 3 stages, as we know: conscious, subconscious, unconscious, or you could maybe call that superconsciousness. And we have those 3 layers for a reason. It's because we're going to go with the word multidimensional here. Stream of consciousness is a bit too much for this human body, maybe, or is a bit too much for our human brain, maybe, I don't know, and has to be decompartmentalized. So consciousness. Alright, so consciousness decompartmentalizes everything. There we go. Decompartmentalizes everything. So, here's where I was having some resistance. So the allowance part, I was like, yeah, but where is the part where you put up your no? And it's already here. It's already in your perception of your boundaries. You might have a perception of your boundary that it's a no to this person, or it's a no to that situation, or it's a no to that thought, or it's a no to that conversation. And that's fine to have that perception. It's fine to have that choice, that preference. Yeah. But the allowance of it, the allowance of whatever situation arises in the now has to also take place, regardless of whether your boundary is set. Okay, you want to set your boundary 100%, but if your boundary is set and something is still happening in your now moment, then you are gonna now follow it through with consciousness, allowing consciousness to decompartmentalize what needs to be faced here and now. So whether that means you have to tell someone that's a no, you have to tell yourself that's a no, or, because we're keeping it simple with the yes and the no's when it comes to boundaries, or we follow consciousness through a new route, a new road, and say, what is it that we want to explore? What is it we want to experience? And go from there. Because if we can say what we would prefer to experience, consciousness will follow through with that, and will create a situation in which we can follow through with that. It also might not do what you want it to do, and that's why we have to have that allowance, balancing things out in the middle. And what else? What else do we have to say about boundaries? That might be it. Those cars drive so dangin', so fast. But I get it, they're trying to get somewhere. Hi, random adventurer, welcome in. How about we do a rune reading? Coherence. Okay, that's a good one to finish with. Before we do a rune reading. I'm gonna try and keep myself on one topic today. The frequency of coherence supports our ability to harmonize the frequency of the heart, so allowance for things, with the frequency of the mind. Gotta get your heart and mind synced up. If they aren't synced up, you probably gotta ask. You gotta ask to have your experience, your thoughts be channeled through your heart as well, because there's a way to have both your mind and your heart coming through your experience. And if you have only your heart coming through the experience, then you're going to have your boundaries kicked under the rug all the time. So you don't want that. If you have only your mind in play at any one given time, when you're talking to people, when you're thinking about stuff, when you're doing stuff, you're gonna kind of hate life because there's no love there. It's just thoughts. But if you have your heart and your mind turned on at the same time, there is where that allowance can live. There is where that boundary can live. Whatever boundary you need, you can claim it. I'm gonna read that again. Car sounds are nice. Maybe you must hear it. I mean, I'm kind of hearing it through these microphones. So if you say they're nice, I'm gonna try and get on that trajectory with that. And that's an interesting point, because I think maybe because I've lived here and every time I've heard the cars, not every time, sometimes in the middle of the night, you know, when like you got the heebie-jeebies because something like you just heard a sound, or it's like really dark, or like just had a weird dream, and then a car goes by, I feel the moment, oh, it's okay, it's humans still here. It's not all ghosts and weird things. Not that I necessarily believe in ghosts, although do I don't know. I'm not getting into that topic. I don't mind, but it's a trigger word. It's one of those ones that triggers people. Coherence, though, we are talking about coherence here. So the frequency of coherence supports our ability to harmonize the frequency of the heart, the frequency of the mind, for an optimal ability to create the reality we desire. Okay, this is really big. Because if we coherence, heart coherence. Oh, that was loud. Let's cover it up with some fairy sounds. Be right. Heart coherence, mind coherence. What symbol can we draw for the heart? For the mind. I'm gonna say masculine, feminine. You know that symbol, the circle and the line. Represent mind. I don't know. There's probably a symbol for it. Maybe air would be the mind symbol. By the way, if you are team air, you can get your reading here and now. Just let me know. I'm maybe going to do something a bit different with the Team Air readings and do some light language that comes through for you, because I noticed that when I was doing personal sessions with people, when I would bring through light language, it would really move something in people, and an energy, like a stuck energy or some kind of just release would happen. So we'll do that. Coherence. Yeah. So I was going to do a room reading as well. What's that about? Do I want to do a room reading? Speaking of self-care, here I'm having some orange juice and Bluminic. What's that oil called? Cumin oil. So this is kind of black. It's not looking black in here. No, the bottle's black. It's not a black oil. It's coming from a flower. And I noticed recently that, well, I used to take it quite often because I like the taste of it, and I'm wondering if I like the taste because it's helping something in my gut. if that's how that works. But yeah, maybe we can share some self-care tips beyond boundaries, because you're going to have boundaries that you set with other things, other people, but when it comes to yourself, you want to have self-care. Having that heart-mind connection is a start. The other kinds of self-care are more physical for me, so like drinking, something healthy. Excuse me. Also, I wanted to say that recently I've been putting on some oils. We made some like body oil out of avocado oil, and the smell is amazing. I wish you could smell. But it's jasmine, ylang ylang, bit of rose, and I believe some peppermint, and the smell is amazing. And I put it on before bed actually, because it gives me like a nice boost of my senses before I start going into dream world and everything that goes along with that. But yeah. What else? I think I wanted to talk about the fact that we can have boundaries with our mind, with the mind. Because here's what I noticed. I'm gonna try and open the heart space right now, and maybe use singing bowl to do that, so we can go into a little meditation and feel our heart mind kind of there. Because it's no use in just talking about it. It's actually useful to get in it and then have conversations from there. Can you imagine if every speaker did that? Got into their heart space first. I mean, it's easy to say you're going to do that, but actually doing that might not always look like you want it to. We're going to try it though. We're going to try it. Ooh, that was close. I don't know if you heard that or just me or what, but it's the sound that the headphones make when it gets too close to the microphone. It's really intense. Welcome in, yeah. Hello. Top MG. So, I'm gonna open the space just for us to connect with the energy of this circle, with the energy of this moment, the energy of ourself, and with the energy of Source. Okay. Ready for this? This is the heart chakra. With the sound, we can really start to feel into the heart with the mind. That's how we connect the two. Watch your mind. See how many places it goes just whilst you are trying to get into your heart. That's the test. Hello, Blackjack. Thank you so much. So this actually could be a practice for going beyond boundaries, as we were talking about earlier. You set your boundaries with your perception of what's good and not so good for you, and then you come into allowance for all things because you've already set up what you need. So here is where we come into the heart. Allow this sound to remind us to go straight in the center. Okay. It works for me. I don't know how well it works for you, because you're through a few different boundaries, let's say. So, just gonna sit. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy being able to breathe. Enjoy being able to think, but not too much. Enjoy being able to sing. Open up a space for joy to come through. Open up a space for authenticity to come through. Recognizing that every moment is different, is new. And I want to say completely up to you, but I don't know if you will sit there with that. I can hear the birds. Sounds like sparrow, maybe. So, what shall we explore today together? I'm wanting you guys to decide, because I feel like this is a safe space to open for that kind of thing. So, what can we explore that is going through? I mean, we touched on it already with boundaries, but why is it we feel we need boundaries? Like, if we can get to the core of that, because I think there is where we'll find some roots. We might be asking for boundaries in one area of our life and actually needing it in something else. But we might not necessarily be aware that we need those boundaries in that space. It's just like a beginning stage of the boundary being recognized at all. If that makes sense. It's like everyone needs something different though. Everyone needs something different. So yeah. How about the concept that we We get to live in whatever way we want to live. And it's only us, our society, that puts some stopgaps on that. Puts boundaries on that, and so we think in turn that we need boundaries, but actually we're feeling the boundaries of society, or we're feeling the boundaries of, or the vortex of someone else and what they think about us. Because, you know, I was going to call this stream something like how to have boundaries when you are someone that takes things on all the time, when you feel guilty all the time. And technically not having boundaries taught you a lot, technically, but you also kind of need to learn now how to have boundaries because you're taking on too much. You're kind of like imploding in on yourself because of the world's problems. I don't know if that resonates with anyone here, but it definitely resonates with what I've experienced, and now can course correct, because there's no need to go there. There's no need to go to that comparison place. It's not healthy. So you have to have these boundaries on your own mind, actually. It's not just outside of you, it's inside of you. What's going on in there, right? So, I don't know if this is making sense at all, but this is making sense to me. It's just like there's no definitive answer. Is there to anything though? I mean, I'd say no. Spirituality and sexuality. Alright. What should we say about that? What I'd say, okay. There's a way to go through life. Whether any of us will do it or do it is beside the point. There's a way to go through life where we use I don't know if that's what it is though. Sacred sexuality. I've seen a lot of videos about it, and to be honest, it's to me it's personal, to you it's personal. So I think when it's made public, changes it, changes the connection you can have with another person, because there's just other energies that get in there. Remember how I was saying in the beginning of the stream that you have energetic connections, energetic cords to people, some more than others. We can be receiving imprints from those cords from people that we've not even met necessarily, or that we've not seen in years. And it changes us. That's what I want to say. It changes us because, alright, who would we be if we came into this world and we only knew one other person? Say Earth was only just starting out, and maybe only, I mean, it's kind of weird to think about, because it's like, well, where's all the animals, bro? Where's all the trees, bro? Aren't some of them around? So let's say that it's the Garden of Eden. You know, it's like that kind of thing where it's just you and one other person. Because you kind of have to have a mirror. You kind of have to have someone to reflect who you are in order to get that side of things, I think. But anyway, you're in this Garden of Eden. And who are you when you don't have any monetary responsibilities? When you don't have any sicknesses or illnesses that you have to go to the hospital for, or think about, or take pills for, or do any of that schlug for. When you don't have any religion, any spirituality, any kind of thing that you have to repent yourself from or feel better about yourself with, who are you when you don't have just those three things? I'd say you're just bliss. You're just the bliss body. That's it. Maybe you guys can think, I'm sure you guys can think of some stories to go along with what else you might be. You guys have got some intense imaginations, but who would you be? To only see it once. I say exactly, but it's like the energy of the soul lives on after death. I agree. Pizza is just my personal conclusion. I also dabble in and out of it though. I dabble in and out of it, but that's my opinion. And so why are we so afraid of death? You're afraid of death when you think, actually some people aren't. I've heard some people say they're not afraid of death even though they don't think there's anything there. I've heard people say they're afraid of death even though there is something there. So there's just something that the soul remembers or not about it. And for the people that are satisfied with the fact that there's nothing after death and feel fine about it, they're remembering something. I don't know what, but they're remembering something. Because I'd say, what, is death the thing that we're afraid of the most, or is it suffering? I'd say it's suffering. Because even though death is pretty scary, and it's definitely maybe where you'll feel the most fear when you're about to die, but suffering is different. It's like over a period of time that we feel it, and so we want to get out of it. We want to find ways to change that. We want to flip it on its head, and that's why I'm taking you to the Garden of Eden right now. Because we can go there actually, and we can let go of all that other stuff. This is kind of like, this just outside of the boundary we want to create for ourselves. Inside of the boundary is my bliss body, and nobody's taking that from me when I'm in the Garden of Eden. Thanks very much. That's a boundary. That's a really good one. Yeah, I never thought to do it like that when I was in Akashic sessions, so I'm going to try that next. I'm going to try that. The power of your word is powerful. The power of your belief even more so. So you have to believe yourself when you say that kind of thing. And as we know, belief can go back and forward. Just recently connected with a friend. We found out that the same jinn is connected to us. And it's about jinns. I heard that word before. And how to cut off their ties to us. I'd go with Mashig for that. I don't remember exactly what jinn is, but I think I get the gist. And it's interesting, when I didn't read your comment just there, but when I was looking kind of over here, I thought I seen something in the back, but it was actually me, and that's why I laughed, because it was my body. But it's interesting. It's interesting how that kind of stuff is imprinted on the consciousness. Yeah, Mashig Labdron talks about releasing. Maybe I can go into that. It's kind of long. Maybe you can explain to me what you mean by jinn though first, before I do that, so I'm not getting confused. I'm not mixing it up. Yeah. Hi Queen, how you doing? maybe fear of having not accomplished what one wanted to over the course of their life. I don't know, man. I don't have, like, do I have to-do lists? Like, you know how people have bucket lists? I kind of have one. I kind of have this garden bucket list. That's my bucket list. Just create this magical garden. That's it. So if I didn't create that, yeah, I'd be, you know what though? I'd just be like, you know what, guys? This was a tough round. I'll try next time. If there is a next time, I can say that. If there isn't, I can't say that. Delayed satisfaction. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Or maybe you can elaborate. Because so many avenues, you know, I can go into with these things, that we can go into with these things. Gotta kind of funnel it in. Gotta create that structure, gotta create that boundary for this information to be as coherent as possible and to actually serve you and, you know, to serve all of us so that we can apply it practically. Because one of the things that happens in conversations is that maybe we can go into all these lofty grand gestures and concepts about life, but what can we apply? What can we do? Because if we can't do anything, you know, we don't just want to roam around the Garden of Eden all the time. Although, we want to roam around it a bit more often than we are doing, folks. Because, like, that's where the heart is. That's where we began, in a way. I know that it might, if it's not Garden of Eden, take out that word. Replace it with something that you like, that you want to go to. Create that space for yourself. That's another boundary. You know, like, everything's a boundary today. But for the right reason. The biggest things we fear about death. Seeing our most cherished loved ones again. Yes. That's probably the biggest one. You will join with them again. I already do in my dreams. I don't know about you, but I already see them. And can I differentiate between whether that's real or not? I don't know. It's like at the end of Harry Potter, when he asks him, "Is this all in my head?" And his response, you know, is, I was going to say Gandalf. It's not Gandalf. It's kind of the same though. It's like Merlin kind of wizard guy. Dumbledore. Hi Pisces Pixie, welcome in. Nice to see you, girl. He says, what does he say? Someone want to remind me? Something like, even if it is all in your head, what does it matter? That doesn't make it any less real. That's what he says. Doesn't make it any less real. But then what is real? You know? I think the physical is what's real. Because and that's where we kind of go with science or science. We go there because it makes sense to us, and it's interesting that we stay there because we just want it to be okay. I can see this, I get it. But we can also move. We can stay there, and we can also integrate the other side of things, which is that the mind exists, and we don't fully understand how. So many things can exist in our mind without them necessarily having a physical trigger, or, you know, another way to put that. I think you guys get my drift. But Gaia's babies. Yeah. That's another thing you can do if you want, you know. I can hear Chippy I can also hear my stomach. But yeah, I'm going into the Garden of Eden, ridding ourselves from 3 systems. Okay, that's a bit of a strong word. Setting a boundary for ourselves, because this stream we've been talking about boundaries, right? Someone asked James, who's a member, how to deal with family boundaries or something like that. Let me just double check, because keep me on the how to maintain personal boundaries with family members. All right, that was the question. Someone else agreed, and then we started talking about it, and we're now, how far are we in? We're 1 hour 27 minutes talking about this. Pretty intense, although I did say that this was gonna probably be a big topic. We can you know, when you're not quite in your heart and you start to maybe feel some unease, or maybe you're too much in your heart and you're not enough in your mind, and you can go from feeling really peaceful to just feeling like vulnerable AF. It's like that balance between the two is what we're learning when we're dealing with boundaries. But what I was saying is that we can picture this Garden of Eden that we can go to, where we release any religious or spiritual beliefs, because trust me, they play their role too, and they're a script that we use to get through life, right? And then there's the monetary system, which kind of directs the flow of where we spend most of our time and energy, right? And then there's the third one, which is the medical industry, which kind of directs our sense of wellness or not. And so when we go to this Garden of Eden, we go to this place of, and as I say, remove whatever word triggers you and put in there something that feels good. Garden feels good to me. It might not to you, I don't know. Some people aren't all that interested in nature, but I've never really, I have understood that actually, I won't lie. I think growing up, I mean I had a garden, so that helped. But there was definitely a period of time where I was more interested in people, I was more interested in business than I was in nature. So I get it. But when I went traveling around the world, but I went a few different places, I came back and I really appreciated nature. So if we can go to that place in nature where we kind of renew ourselves, be a child, come through with the child, come in as little ones, as my friend would say, like just imagine yourself as a little one again, like coming to life. That's beautiful. I love when she said that. And or come through as you are now, but just without those constructs in the way, and just reset yourself. Like, who are you beyond any of those things? Because you'll find that you have, I don't know what you'll find. I'm not going to say. You got to find out. Oops. Forgot that the desk was there, apparently. Oh, hi, James. Here you are. You're very upset today. I'm sorry to hear that. Why are you upset? We're here for you. I'm upset most days, I'm not going to lie. Something will happen, and it gets me in there, but I have to. It's easier these days to snap out of it, but Symbio might not say the same thing. He's on the other side of it, so he probably sees it, but yeah, I think we all go through it on a daily basis, to be honest. And it's okay. It's alright to be upset. You probably have, you might not have a reason that you know about, but you might have a reason that you deep down know about that you don't necessarily need to, I don't know. You don't necessarily need to delve into it. Sometimes it is what it is. You won't necessarily know. Death of a close friend, yeah. You know what, when it comes to death, I think we don't necessarily know what happens, right? So we can't say that it's the death that we hate as much as it is the pain of the loss of the person on the physical plane. And it's probably one of the most difficult things that we go through as people. But I don't know if it's actually death we hate so much. It's more of the physical, or fear as much. It's kind of that too, but you know, maybe we need to get deeper into it and see what is it we are so... Because nature, you look at nature and Chipmunk is like half bitten up and he's still out there. He's still jumping around. No, he's not half bitten up. He's just got like... And here's the thing, is that my tendency is to want to nurture and to be like, oh, Chipmunk, I want to help you. What's happened to you? And I spent a whole day doing that one time. And I got so upset that I thought someone had poisoned the chipmunk in the garden that I reacted in not a nice way. I say not nice. I just didn't really, I wasn't coming from that heart space. So now when I seen Chipmunk today and I seen he's got like some kind of, I don't know, he's good though, he's fine. I'm just like, yeah, you're just living your life, bro. You're not worrying about having to go get checked. You know, like you're just gonna live your life. You're not gonna worry about having to, figure out why that accident happened to you, or I don't know. They're my friends, okay? I do, yeah. Simbai was Eddie. A lot of reasons, yeah. I feel that. I got you. I mean, I get you. It's not easy to articulate emotions. But there's a way. Gotta persevere and have patience. Think of non-doership. Observing what's happening automatically. I like it. I think that's allowance in one of its forms. Wouldn't happen today after the first one had no sound. Well, we're all good today. I mean, today, no, we weren't so good earlier on, so you're right, but now, here and now, we're good. So, focusing on that, yeah. Were you here for, maybe I can go over the boundaries to wrap up in a little bit, so that we have a coherent idea leaving the stream, what we're talking about, and pertaining to even more things than we were necessarily aware of before this stream? Yes. You look different than in the courses. Yeah, those were like 2 years ago. About a year and a half ago when I did the Energy Alchemy course. So. One of those past moments that kind of just doesn't really like resonate right now. Still resonates though. It's the good information I shared on that, but oh, thank you, James. Appreciate you reading the book. Again, same kind of thing though. The feeling is that I'm glad I did it, and I don't know. It's like I've moved on, but I would like to make more things. Just in the past few weeks, I've been practicing focus and flow as much as possible. Sometimes it looks like rest, I feel. I can be like in a moment of doing stuff, and then Abel will walk through the room and I'll just maybe stop for a minute and just stroke him, and then it kind of makes me more restful in that moment. And I have to like stop myself from, I don't know, it's like we have this tendency to want to do things all the time. Get things done, have an exciting day. And for me, personally, I don't particularly favour lying down or having naps. And yet, some of my best experiences that I had in this life has come through going under, I'm going to say. Going under, like, into that hypnagogic space. The space in between sleep and being awake. Because I kind of just know, I was guided to do that. And I think I've been doing that for years. But to force myself into rest is not always easy. So maybe because I'm forcing it, you shouldn't force things. That's the answer to that. But flow and focus is what leads me to rest, because sometimes that's where the flow goes. For me anyway, recently. But yeah, allowance and observation of the moment. Like how much space can you take up in the room, in your body, in your mind, in your heart, in your feet? How much space can you take up? How much embodiment? How embodied can you be? If you have the same mindset as you're driving a car at the moment, or similar, it takes the staying out of the intrusive. So like your focus on one thing. Hear that? It's only Tuesday. Yeah, no. That's kind of our way of getting through life, isn't it? Having 7 days of the week. What day is it today? Oh, it's Wednesday? No, it's Tuesday. Oh, it's Saturday. I thought it was Saturday. It's our way of getting through it. And that's another funnel, that's another focus of consciousness. For us to be like, okay, so on this day I did this. Tomorrow I'm going to do that. And it allows us to decompartmentalize, which is kind of the end of this reading that we did today. Not the end, but like when we were talking about this question that you had, James, you wrote it on Community tab, how to maintain personal boundaries with family members. Here's what we got. See if this makes sense to you and to everyone else that's listening, because sometimes doing these readings, you gotta read them, you gotta do it again and again. And luckily we're having that focus to do that right now. Without you guys, I don't think I would have this focus. So definitely pay attention though, because I'm going to go through it one more time. We said, what is the situation pertaining to boundaries? Don't know if you can actually see my writing, doesn't really matter. What is the situation pertaining to boundaries? And we got perception, how you perceive your boundaries, how you understand what boundaries need to be created for you, your yes and your no's, pertaining to family, pertaining to your own thoughts, pertaining to, what else? Institutions, pertaining to, those things are good. That helps. But then the other side of perception. I asked for more information next, after this one. More information surrounding perception. So our perception of our boundaries, what more can you tell us? Got remembering. Okay, I'm going to show you that card because I feel like it might be a activation for some of you. This deck is called Activations, so I'm going to find that card. It's beautiful. That's for someone who asked about sacred sexuality, by the way. It's called Tantric Journey. It's really beautiful. That's for you. And I'm going to find the remembrance card, because when I look at it, it reminds me of ancient Lemuria, ancient Egypt, inner Earth, Atlantis. Times that we forgot but aren't lost. They aren't lost, they're just waiting to be found. That's what the remembrance is all about. So it's kind of interesting sigil, this one. Number 38. Numerology. It's a good question, Snazzy Bay. So 38, for example, for me represents 3 represents that trinity, that abundance in the good side. On the bad side, it represents the third wheel. The 8, pair that with the 8, for me it's like, am I feeling like, because to me for the 8 it's infinity, but it's also a bit more personal because my birthday's on the 8th of the 8th, so it just feels like one of those numbers that's just mine in a way, but you know, I interpret it in my own way, so you'll have your own. Here's what I think about numerology, is that you might have a set pattern, and I should definitely learn what some of these set patterns are, but for whatever reason, when I read about numerology, I can't necessarily always remember every number. There's only certain numbers that I remember the meaning for, and the rest of them I fill in the gaps. So I have a feeling that's the way it's supposed to be when we come into learning anything, actually, is we fill in some of the gaps, especially the things we don't remember. We're supposed to kind of make something that's more personal to us in the now moment about it. But the 38 would be some kind of like abundance. Yeah, I feel abundant. That's what I'm gonna go for. Number 38 right now is telling me that I feel abundant, and I'm gonna roll with it. Tomorrow it might mean something completely different to me, but that's the general gist of those numbers for me. And it says the frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul and a body. Ooh. It's intense. Providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. That's very nice. Alright, so the frequency of remembrance supports our memory of everything that we have gone through as a soul in a body, providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. Alright. So it's not necessarily all about the memories that are lost and getting upset about those memories, and maybe they're still living in your body in some kind of way, but you don't remember them. It's about knowing that whatever is needed in there is going to come through. So that's why you can trust the moment. Does that make sense? Providing us with valuable information and tools to flow gracefully with and in this life. You got it. Alright. So that was the card that we got next. So, perception and then remembrance. It's just so much already, I don't even know. It's like, I just want to I'm gonna let you guys think about that for a second. Because I feel like it's already a lot. Anyways, we went on after remembering, because maybe remembering was more something else. I think remembering was for me, for something specific that I experienced the other day. So, scratch that if it doesn't resonate. What I will say is that boundaries, the perception of our boundaries, we then pulled the card allowance. So here's where we're going to start making a bit more sense, hopefully, is that coherence is that space, that allowance that we can conjure up on a daily basis for ourselves and for others, is what allows for us to be in the heart mind. That divine union. That's the divine union. Okay. Just having a realization. And I wrote here, so perception of your own boundaries, number 1. Number 2, you can't always know why, so we have to create allowance for things. We don't create allowance, we set our boundaries first and then we allow for whatever comes afterwards, right? And then third one we got was consciousness. Consciousness will decompartmentalize through your conscious, subconscious, superconscious, unconscious mind what needs to be dealt with here and now. The rest is saved for later, when you can put it all together, when you can string it all together in some form of coherence. So not everything will we know right now. So I hope that makes sense. To wrap that up for you. Obviously that's more of the readings guide. And we'd probably do well to stick to that and delve deeper into that in all of its layers, so that we don't get too sidetracked into things that don't feel so good. But we were also talking about making sure that when we create boundaries, we do so in spirit, so that we can go to a place like the Garden of Eden, which maybe I'll finish with a bit of a meditation for us, actually, going into the Garden of Eden. So close your eyes. Just picture green forming all around you, little seedlings growing beneath your feet. Maybe you're planting some seeds as you walk through some soil, through sand, through whatever you want to see yourself with. So coming into the heart with this sound. Really focusing on that center. Breathing out. Everything that we're clearing, letting go of, surrendering to. Telling ourselves that we are abundant in the heart, and we can work with the heart mind. So, now that we're in this garden, we are surrounded by trees, by flowers, by everything that makes us feel connected to Mother Gaia. And we're just going to wait on a bench somewhere. Find yourself a nice bench in this garden. Unplug yourself from the matrix, the world at large, the relationships. Create your boundary around this garden, maybe some kind of etheric shield. I would show you kind of something, but I think it's for you guys to conjure up yourself, like when you're reading a book. You conjure that information up yourself. Hello there, fast driver. And you can become still with it. You can know that you're safe here. And from this garden space, we can ask Mother Gaia to come forward and speak to us. She's going to take her time, and while she comes to you, she's going to ask you to just get yourself relaxed. Release your tension that you're carrying, because when you have tension, you're not as open. You're not as open to receiving the answers that you long for, basically. To receiving to feeling, the feelings that you want to experience. So you can hear the birds, you're watching the different animals coming by. And you can feel that you're completely safe, completely at ease. And the part of you that lives beyond this boundary, beyond this safe place, has a question from Mother Gaia. And as she's coming toward you in all of her beauty, she sits down beside you and she looks at you, and the transference of energy just between you and her is already full of so much feeling. When you look into her eyes, you see this beautiful green golden colour, or maybe a rainbow colour, who knows what you see. And she sits next to you and she comforts you in whatever way is most comforting to you specifically. And as you look at her, you know that you have a question for her, but you can't seem to find exactly what it is. So you just go ahead and you ask her a question anyway, even if it sounds stupid. You're just going to ask her a question anyway. Just ask her and just allow her to respond. And when she responds, in whatever way she does, just hearing her answer allows you to open to a feeling that you want to feel, first and foremost. Hi. So you're asking her that question, you've asked her that question. What is her response? How does it make you feel? Just breathe in, just breathe. If it's laughing, laugh. If it's singing, sing. If it's talking, talk. Whatever it is. If it's movement, move. If it's crying, cry. If it's shouting, shout. And then she gives you a hug, or she gives you a smile, or she gives you a gift. She tells you should come back again to this garden. Okay, I'm not gonna fall asleep, so I'm gonna let you guys fall asleep if you want to, but I'm not gonna fall asleep, although maybe I could. It's the worst thing that could happen, I don't know, but I think some guy fell asleep on stream one time and he burnt. Oh no, I don't know if that was the same one, but I'm pretty sure something weird happened. So anyway, didn't need that piece of information. You guys stay in your chill bliss space. Although I am feeling tired now. So how about we just rest there for a second? Sending some love into your feet, into the earth from Mother Gaia. She's offered us a gift, so we can't leave without returning some kind of gift. So what can we offer? Respect, appreciation, love. What can we offer to Gaia, to Earth, to Goddess, Gaia, God, Earth? You can offer whatever you want, as long as its intention is to give back or transform. Ground those energies in. Okay. Kitty spirit. Yes. Okay, guys. Note, as the goddess of the sky and all heavenly bodies. Yeah. Symbol of protecting the dead when they enter the afterlife. It's a nice rendition. During the day, the heavenly bodies, such as the sun and moon, would make their way across our body. Yes. So I feel like extra relaxed after doing that. It all depends kind of what you want to do with the rest of your day, whether you can tap into that kind of energy or not, or whether you want to tap into that kind of energy or not. But when you are maybe, and here's what being a 5-year-old with a temper tantrum teaches you, is that if you're really angry, you might also be tired. So take a rest, take a nap when you need one. Try your best to go to that space when you need it. With Gaia, with whoever speaks to you, or just with nature. Because it's a real space. If you want to talk about real, like what is real, there's the physical and there's the energetic, and they both work in conjunction together, a bit like the heart and the mind complex. So I think I've said my piece for today, and I hope that you're all okay, and that you're oh I think that's the end of the stream, guys, but I do hope you're okay. and I'll be here again this Thursday. So I will see you then. Just know that there's a lot more energetic support for you than you realize, and to call that in when you need it. Alright? Setting your boundaries, knowing what your boundaries are. If you want to watch the replay, then you can send me a message. I'll give you the replay of this stream. But if you want to support me, then you can join Team Earth and you'll be able to watch this replay and also get access to exclusive videos. And you will also get occasional readings on stream, so there's lots of perks. But if you really can't afford it, then just send me an email, okay? And I'll give you the replay. But for now, I'm going to go, and I'm going to send lots of positivity your way. And I'll see you guys very soon. I'll see you.